So, we ask ourselves, how bad do we want an answer? How bad do we want an answer? When these gentlemen, there's 4 that was carried and maybe a few more, 2, 3, whatever. When they first arrived, I suspect they tried the nice, normal approach. Okay, perhaps asking several people, excuse us please. We have a sick friend here. He really needs to see Jesus. Probably tried the normal way. But, I mean, you know, what do you do? Okay? How desperate are we? And how bad do we want an answer from the Lord on something? Some perhaps in our time would say, well, the parking lot's full, we can't find a place to park, let's just turn around and go home. Do you think they'd get their answer? Do you think they'd get their need met? No. But this poor fellow had some determined friends. Wouldn't it be nice to have friends like that?
Yes.
Loved and cared about you so much that be willing to go to that extreme to see if they could get you in touch with Jesus. Would you be willing to break the law? Because even back then, I'm sure, it was against the law to tear up somebody's house. They had laws. This wasn't, you know, I mean, they destroyed a man's roof. That's going to have to be repaired. But they were willing to do that. So I believe they were breaking the law. Perhaps many in the crowd would have been nice, considerate, kind of trying to move out of the way when they say, excuse me. But where are they going to move to? Somebody stand beside them. And human nature being what it is, there were probably more that said, wait your turn. Get in line. I'm not moving. My little toe's been bothering me all day, and I was here first. I need Jesus to touch it. That's just the way human nature is. So, what do you do when confronted with seemingly insurmountable obstacles? Can you continue to trust in God, believe in Him when it seems you can't get through to Him? When it seems He has perhaps turned a deaf ear to you? What if Daniel had given up when he was trying to hear from the Lord? How about Hezekiah? If he had given up, he wouldn't have got his extra years that the Lord gave him. Is there any prayer in your life that if God was not to answer in the manner you desire, that you would say, that's enough, that's it, I can't follow Him any further, I'm out of here? The answer to that must be no. If we really love the Lord as we're supposed to, the answer to that has to be no. Because we have to press always. And I'll relate a story to you. I think I may have done it before. But my mind goes back. Of course, while I was going through this, I was thinking of my sister. But my mind goes back to the earliest time that I can begin to remember, hearing my mom, Aunt Annie on occasion, I believe Aunt Susie, and in later years as I grew, I even remember hearing my sister pray the same prayer, but they would pray for my dad. From the time I was old enough to remember and pick up on it, okay, I can almost see them in the living room, on their knees, and these, you know, I mean, for a young boy, these were unusual prayers. These were not just silent little things. They were fervently seeking God for deliverance from my dad's dream. And I remember hearing those prayers as I grew up, year after year. They didn't give up. They didn't give up. They kept on praying, kept on praying. The problem is that each of us may have to learn this for ourselves, just as Job did, and I believe Abraham did, in that we must keep going. We can't give up. Okay? If it seems that God is not answering our prayers, we can't let that stop us. We have to keep praying. Just as my mom, my sister, and my aunts did for my dad. Such that at some point in time, as I was older, he did. He quit drinking. Now, there'd be some that say, well, he would have done that anyhow. I don't know, because I can look back. Bob remembers. We had cousins did that, Houston, Jack. They never did quit. Matter of fact, one shot the other. Is that right, Bob? Yeah. So what's to say my dad wouldn't have ended up the same way? If it hadn't been for those prayers, year after year, the faithfulness that they showed the Lord. So what do we do with this study, this event that we have looked at tonight with him? Removing those towels one by one. I believe that the towels, the tearing off the roof, is symbolic of not giving up. Each step of the way they could have said, well, this is too much. It's too much for us to get up on the roof. It's certainly too much for us to get up there and then drag him up. And it's certainly too much for us to tear this man's roof up. We'll get in trouble for that. But they wouldn't give up. They wouldn't give up. Just as we can't give up. And I believe that's what this is trying to tell us. No matter how difficult the struggle, no matter how long you have to pray, it's my sister. No matter how long you have to pray, no matter what state you find yourself in, you don't give up. You keep that hope burning inside that at some point, God's going to hear it some way or another. God's going to hear it. And you keep praying even when it seems you're not getting the answer that you want. We have to keep going. All right. That's my story for tonight.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.